happy new month. Yes, I guess this is the first time we are meeting in the month of November. All right, this is Act of God's Captive into Call of the Captive's Diary, episode 1, season 3. So, the last episode, which was actually the last episode of Act of God's Captive. So, this is season 3, episode 1, written by no other person but Precious Chinwe, Obialor-Ukazim. All right, so you're continuing from Uma had the voice that told her she's going to meet her husband in church. So that is where we are continuing. We want to see who the husband is. All right, husband. She laughed at the silly idea of meeting her husband at the same church she's been attending for over 2 years, and doesn't seem to connect with anyone there. I just hope it's not someone from church, she said, because she doesn't find any of the young men in the local church they attend attractive. Mama, we are running late. Aren't you ready? She heard Barrister Precious calling out to her from outside, and she quickly pushed both the thoughts and what she heard outside and dashed out of the room. I'm all ready, she shouted in response, picking up her Bible as she ran towards the door. When they got to church, there were just few church workers who had arrived, and those familiar faces were the most devoted workers in church, who comes to church first before every other worker, even before the pastor's families. Wow. They were mostly males and few ladies, and Uma ran her eyes through the most vibrant young men among them. Which of them, as if to know which of them could be the possible future husband. God said she was going to meet in church, but after a few eye search, she lost interest by a few turn-offs and turned away, putting away from her head the silly idea of meeting the right person for her in that church. Oh, you all should avoid me, please, she said under her breath, turning away immediately from their direction very fast, as she just couldn't imagine settling down with anyone there, because it was either they were far too old for her, or they were overweighted, or too black, or too red in complexion. Jesus. Hope you understand what they say. They are too red. Nah, their own yellow papa no be here. So those one are rah. And they too black. Those are the maybe the black Americans. Then overweight, fatty bum bum. She went to sit down at her favorite sitting spot, and after some minutes, one of the young men she had, the chubby one, walked up to where she was seated and, excuse me, may I have a word with her? I bind you, it can never be you. It must. I buy Jesus. Uma screamed on the inside, almost exploding on the outside with feeling disenchanted. You said what? She asked him, because she was too tense when she saw him walk up to her so much that she didn't even hear what he said the first time. I wanted to discuss something with you very briefly, but it seems service is about to start. Can I have a minute or two of your time after the service, please? He requested, and she stared at him for some seconds in silence, wondering before she finally nodded in the affirmative. Oh, thank you, exclaimed the young man. I don't take this for granted. I'll catch up with you later, he said excitedly, then left, and Uma was left in her own thought. What is it? What is it you want to discuss with me? She asked nobody but herself silently as he watched him push his chubby self away. They've both been in the same church for 2 years and have never exchanged words one-on-one before. I learned God gives people what they don't like, but this right here is definitely not the will of God for me, okay? God, no offense, but you ain't gonna do this to me. Uma was telling God while the opening prayer for service was going on, and someone would she was praying she was praying the prayers being led in church, but was in her own world apart, talking to God. At some point in her prayer, she broke down in tears and had to kneel down with her head bowed to the ground, begging God not to let her down. She didn't stop rejecting him in her heart, even after the opening prayer, and she was just cold with many thoughts running through her mind, and the sight of that young man sent fear to her heart. Throughout the service, she was just staring absent-mindedly at people and all the activities going on in the church, from where she was sitting, without really paying attention, as her mind was somewhere else, lost in thought and not actively thinking about the things or people she was looking at, but was instead preoccupied with other thoughts, her mind wandering back to the conversation she had earlier with Tochukwu, the chubby Nigerian young man. While still dealing with that, during the testimony time, Her eyes caught someone that looked like David, and she thought she was probably hallucinating because nothing in her wildest imagination could have made her believe that David is in church. She looked closely again, tapping herself to be sure she was not hallucinating. But there he was, flesh and blood. She had no idea what he said in his testimony, which made the church to clap for him. But her eyes followed him as he walked back to his seat, and she didn't remove her eyes until she saw him sat down. To confirm that he was the one when he sat down, he looked towards her direction and smiled at her. Jesus! First, it was Chubby Tochukwu. Now, it is us seeing David like, wait, when did David leave the US and came to UK? How did he get to the church, or how did he even know it's a church? We have plenty questions to answer right now, but in the next episode we would know what exactly God is saying. Is it Chubby Tochukwu? Well, it might be Chubby Tochukwu that will be the husband, or is there any other person? And please, what is David doing in the church? All right, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance, and please, Happy New Month. I missed you guys so much and I love you so much. Have a beautiful and lovely day. God bless you.